Hi, thank you for joining me today for another marketing secret that you can use right now. Before we get started, let me see if I can answer some of your questions. Like, who am I? My name is Rand Smith. So what? Yeah, good question. I'm a 30-year broker in the state of California, have been and currently am. I've performed and done over 500 seminars and workshops across the US and in Canada. I've helped over 10,000 agents grow their business, make more money in less time, and put more net bottom line dollars in their pocket. I'm a recognized expert in the field of marketing and systems. Listed and sold 500 homes in the last 20 months, and I'm the highest paid real estate consultant that I know of, and helped more than two .com companies go from worth almost nothing to being worth millions of dollars. I read one book per week, always have, always will, for the past 15 years. I have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. I wrote a book called Marketing Magic. You may have read it. I'm listed in Who's Who in Business, and my production's in the top 0.5%. I put together the Think One business plan, the only business plan that I know of that shows you what activities that if you engage in, you can reach and achieve any goal you set. There isn't anything else like it. I can talk about and have trained on the power of influence, which I think there's nothing that is more beneficial and that we need to know how to do more than influence our clients to take the action that we desire that they take. My study of the brain has led me to understand why we do what we do. I've coached over 1,200 of the top agents in the US and Canada, and I have a base business philosophy and foundation in every business that I'm involved in. And that is simply this: if you're in a service business, there is no better way, and there is no way for you to be successful unless you do the following. Find out what people want and need, then make it easy for them to get it. How simple can it get? But unless you do this, you really are just, it's your best guess as to what kind of service you're going to provide these people. Now, I have people always say, but Rand, how do I find out what they want and need? Here it is. Ask them. If you ask the right questions, people will tell you everything you need to know to serve their needs. Think about that. If you want to build a service business, what better way than to find out what people want and need and make it easy for them to get it? But that's not why you're here today. I just wanted to give you those credentials to see if that would give you enough reasons to pay attention to me. Today, what I want to talk to you about is something I call the dreaded call. Now, just listen for just a minute. I'll tell you a story. The dreaded call goes something like this. It's Monday morning. You've been gone all weekend. Your assistant buzzes you and said, Rand, it's Mrs. Wilson on the phone. You go, hi, Mrs. Wilson. How are you doing? This is Rand. She goes, oh, we're so good. We're so excited. Well, you're excited. That's great. Why? We found it, Rand. We found the perfect home. Gosh, that's great. You know, I've been gone for a few days, and I just got back in town. I'm rather busy, but I'll put the contract together, and you can come in today at 4:15, or would 4:30 be better? And Mrs. Wilson then says, Rand, yes, we bought it. You bought it. You know, Mrs. Wilson, you couldn't have bought it. And may I tell you why? Because I should have told you this before, but I didn't, and I'm sorry. But see, when you find a home that you like, you give me a call, just like you did today, and congratulations, I'm glad you did. Then you tell me about it. I put together a contract, make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and then I go stick my legs under the table and negotiate to your benefit. Make sure that everything goes just right in the escrow and you get everything explained to you and understood. All the inspections are done, financing goes well, and so on. And then we close escrow, and then you bought it. Would 4:15 be good or 4:30 be better? Rand, the nice young man at the open house handled everything. And now you have reason to pause for a minute. And I ask you, and submit for your consideration, how and why does this happen? And so the story goes on. You say, the nice young man at the open house, well, where did you find this home? In the Highlands. In the Highlands. Mrs. Wilson, there's no condos in the Highlands. No, we bought this four-bedroom home. Mrs. Wilson, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask you this question. We've been looking for a condominium in Seaside for the better part of 1 year, in the $250,000 price range, and you just bought a four-bedroom home in the Highlands. And the Highlands, they're very expensive there. How much was it? $500,000. $500,000? Then I even have to ask you another question. Why on earth were we looking at $250,000 condominiums in Seaside for the better part of a year? Now, you ask that question to yourself, of course. Now, again, how and why does this happen? This person obviously trusts you, loves you, likes you, thinks of you as part of the family. In fact, she likes you so much, trusts you so much, she's calling you to share in her excitement. And so you muster up a little more courage and you start to do the worst thing that you could possibly do, is to get some of the details. And you even go so far as to do this. Gosh, well, that's great. That's great, Mrs. Wilson. You got a home, and when do you move in? Well, it's a 30-day close. There's no contingencies. We're so excited. Gosh, that's great. And Mrs. Wilson, just in case that something were to happen to that escrow, and I'm not saying that it would or wishing that it would, but just in case, maybe I should look around for a backup property just in case something were to happen. No, there's no contingency. We love it. We're so excited. And now you do the worst possible thing that you could ever think of doing. It's a big, big mistake. What is that? You do the math. You start to multiply 3% times 500,000, and then it really hits you. Now, have you ever had the dreaded call? My guess is that 98% of you said, yes, you have. Or if it's less than that, the only reason you haven't had the dreaded call is because you simply haven't been in the business long enough, or you're not being honest with yourself or us. But the dreaded call is something if you haven't had, you soon will. And I like to find marketing ways and solutions for anything that costs me money. So here's the solution. I came up with the open house guest pass. And the way it is used is like this. Here's the presentation. I say, Mrs. Wilson, you know how you're going to be out on the weekends looking at property, and I won't always be with you. And the nice young man or woman that is the host of the open house, sometimes when you go there without me, they have a tendency to follow you around, and you probably don't like that, do you? No, we really don't enjoy it. So here you go. Let me give you a handful of these. It's the open house guest pass. And when you go to an open house from now on, the first thing I want you to do is put this in their hands, and guess what they're going to do? That's right, they're going to leave you alone. Now, I have these already filled out, and on the back of it, you'll notice that it says, this client is represented by Rand Smith and Real Estate by Rand. Rand Smith has with this client the exclusive right to represent them in the home buying process. Should you have any questions or communication with regards to my clients, please be sure to direct them to Rand Smith at, and there's my phone number, thank you, your name, and by me, and the date. If you ever run low, and I mean don't run out, but run low, I want you to give me a call, and I'll have some more of these delivered right to you wherever you're at. Fair enough? And that's the presentation, and you too can never have the dreaded call. One way to start making more money in this business is by not losing so much of it to begin with. Okay, that's your tip for the day. If you want to get in touch with me, you can go direct to System7workshops.com or send me an email at System7workshops@gmail.com. Have a great day. Bye-bye.